Jason Buttrill joins us. I asked Jason earlier today to watch the Pete Hegseth, I don't know, meeting or speech in front of all of the military leaders. I think he brought them in to show them how deadly serious the changes at the Pentagon are going to be. They, changed it from the Department of Defense to the Department of War to show that we are a war machine. That is our job, to break things and kill people. We don't want to, but when we have to, that's what we have to be the best in the world at. And when I was watching this, it was so full of common sense and things that I would think if I were a soldier, I would have wanted to hear a long time ago. In fact, he said, this is not the Pentagon that you dreamt about serving in when you were young. You didn't join the Army to do this. He said, we're getting back to what it really is. And I thought it was really powerful. It seemed really important, but I only saw bits and pieces. Jason just watched the entire thing. Jason Buttrill joins me now. What are your thoughts, Jason?
Wow, Glenn, I did not understand the reason for not just doing this on a Zoom call, or I didn't see the point really in bringing them all in until I saw this. Holy crap. The message is clear. I mean, it is very clear that American military power is back. It's lethal. It's deadly. It's every single reason why men and women put on the uniform and go to defend their country. I haven't seen a military speech like that outside of a movie or...
it's so funny. I saw because he was standing in front of a giant flag. And the last time I saw this, it was done with somebody in a uniform. He wasn't in a uniform. Was from the movie Patton.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like that. Kind of felt like one of those that you're like, yes. But the audience was very quiet. I don't know how they related to it, but that's how you felt too?
Yeah, there was like one time when I heard a few people, cheering in the crowd, but I guarantee you, these are not guys that are supposed to cheer in situations like that. But all of them, I won't say all of them. Probably 99% of them were going insane. They wanted a mosh pit and they wanted to crowd surf. That's how excited they are. I guarantee you that's how they felt.
What was it that he said that would cause the military leaders to do that?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, let's start off with this wasn't just a speech. This was a complete realignment of the way that the military's been ran over a decade. A complete realignment.
Longer than that.
And longer than that. We talked about it yesterday on just some of the things we thought they were going to talk about. They actually, combined with his speech and the president's speech, they actually covered every single thing that we talked about yesterday. But Hegseth's portion was just the most exciting to me because now they're talking about just doing away with all the DEI crap, all the stuff they were focused on. They're switching completely to lethality and being a deadly fighting military force. And we just haven't heard that. It's been dressed up in politically correct garbage. All the politically correct garbage is getting tossed out the window. But not only that, they're focusing on change and how to, as Bruce Lee would say, to be like water with, the direction of how defense tactics and how, the way a modern defensive capability is going. That's the direction we're going. He said he's going to be making additional speeches that are going to cover infrastructure, supply chain changes. I mean, this is music to our ears. Everything we need to do to harden down in case an actual huge conflict breaks out, we will be ready for it. And I guarantee you, with this Department of War, with this Secretary of War, and with this president, we will be ready. It might take a couple years to fix the damage, but now, not only we, but all the military leaders that have been frustrated for over a decade, now they can feel confident in where we're going. And this is just amazing, Glenn. It's absolutely amazing.
To me, this makes total sense and is in line with everything that Donald Trump says he's doing. Remember, the world as we know it was set up at Bretton Woods. Mm-hmm. It was our financial, everything. After World War II, everything was decided on how we were going to behave economically and militarily. In 1962, I think it was, a Carol Carol Quinby. I can't remember his last name, but he was a Harvard professor, and he wrote Tragedy and Hope. And he was an insider, and he had been advising presidents, from Truman all the way up to Nixon. But in 1962, he was banned, and everybody looked the other way because he wrote this book, and he said, "Look, I've been part of this, and I'm so excited. We're going to get rid of war because we have now tied our economic system so tightly together that we will only have police actions. There will never be an all-out war. We'll use economic sanctions, and both sides will pay a price, and there won't be any of these big changes anymore." And he was right. That is exactly what happened. And so the changes that Donald Trump is making, he's going back to the Bretton Woods stuff, and he's saying, look, that was for that era. That doesn't work anymore, and it hasn't worked for years. When you look at Carol Quilby, I can't remember his last name. I'm sorry. But when you look at what he wrote, that was basically putting the State Department as the boss of the Department of Defense. They would do work. The Department of Defense and the soldiers would start doing work to, democratize the world and bring peace and everything else. It was a total flip. And in the little that I heard Hegseth do today, it sounds to me that this is the next massive step in what Donald Trump is going to be remembered for. People don't understand it yet. He is resetting the entire structure of the world, completely redoing it. And he's doing it not just, with our foreign policy. He's now doing it inside our own government. And he's making those changes in the Department of War to say, look, this is what we do. This is the tool you are. You kill people and break things. If I wanted to have peace, I'm going to go someplace else. If somebody wants to, have war with us, we're going to kill them quickly, and we're going to say it's not going on for 20 years. It's going to last in 18 months, and it's over. And it will be decisive. That's a whole change to the entire global system. It's why they hate him so much at the United Nations. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, what you're talking about was echoed by geopolitical analysts all over the world. I think his name was Francis Fukushima, who wrote the End of History. Talked about that as being, we're done. All war is over, and now it's just economic. Just like you said, kind of putting the State Department and other organizations that are in charge of American defense. One of the crazy things is one of his students, Samuel Huntington, wrote a kind of like a rebuke of that, and said he wrote A Clash of Civilizations, which basically said, no, we need to be very careful because future wars will be civilizational.
Which is what we're headed for.
Exactly what he predicted is what we're headed for. Clash of civilizations. Look at Europe. Look at the United States right now. Look how war is being waged on us, and we're not even concentrated on it. And the president pretty much addressed that, as you pointed out, where he was like, for far too long, we've been focused on, providing trillions of dollars, focusing on places like Somalia or places like that. He actually called a couple of countries out. He said we shouldn't even be out and doing some of these things. He said, look, we need to look at our own hemisphere. Again, this is something that we pointed out yesterday that we were hoping they would actually mention. They did. He did. The president did. This is a complete different realignment of what the threats are against the United States and addressing them and being prepared to combat them. And I tell you, I still got goosebumps from the entire thing. I now see why they decided to call all of them in and do that. I mean, not only is the military on notice, I think the military is relieved, but now our enemies are on notice. It was kind of funny. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, said that he actually turned to the camera and addressed our enemies. And he goes, and to our enemies, and he said the acronym FAFO. And then that's when that was the point where a few people started cheering. And he goes, if you need help with translating that, just ask a few of your enlisted guys. But I was like, yeah, it's on. It's on.
The president also said yesterday that they were going to be looking at new technology. Did they talk at all about new technology?
So vaguely they talked about new directions that they need to be going in. He was very vague with it, but he also mentioned another follow-on speech on some of the things that they're going to be focused on. So that's definitely part of it. That was part of it, but I think we're going to be getting more details on that. But not only new technology, but how we're going to manufacture them and how we're going to supply the manufacturing entities within the United States. And it's all going to be, it sounds like, homegrown, so that we're not reliant upon other countries. I mean, they included everything in this speech, Glenn. It was amazing.
I mean, I'm not a military guy, but I have to tell you, when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, finally somebody is, because we all know the answers. We really do. We know the answers to most of these problems. You want to fix the economy? Stop spending so much money. Get your budget under control. How do we do that? It's not that hard. You could get 10 citizens pulled randomly, and you could pull them out, as long as they're not college professors. Just pull them out of their jobs and say, hey, this or that, this or that, this or that. And you could slash so much. Nobody is going to say they want sex changes for frogs, studied in Africa. Nobody is going to say that. And it's all such common sense. And it's so nice to see common sense play a role, because it hasn't in a very, very long time. Yeah. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. By the way, tomorrow I'm going to talk a little bit about digital ID. And I want to take you to India on digital ID and show you what happened there. I mean, this is a real threat to America and to freedom all over the world. China already has it, and we know what that is. Now it's coming to the West, and it already came to China. What are the other countries? China, not Japan, Australia.
Switzerland just voted on it.
Right.
Yeah, Australia,
India.
South Korea.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. And again, it's not about anything other than complete control. And we'll show you all about that on tomorrow's broadcast. Jason, thank you so much.